All right, let's see. Good afternoon. This is Professor Milligan. This is Wall Street Wednesday. Today's April 5th. This is episode number 47 for me. I'm pretty excited about that also. It means I'm coming on a full year of doing this, which is pretty cool. I'm going to give people a few minutes to join in. As I had said in my Instagram post, I am really excited about today. I'm excited about every day, but I'm excited about today. We're going to talk about some things I think can put some money in your pocket. We're going to talk about some things I think that can help you have a better understanding about these cryptocurrencies and how to trade them. What's going on, Nicholas? So, excuse me. So that's what's going to happen today. I'm just giving people a few minutes before I start going. What's up, Paul Davis? So I'm just giving people a few minutes to join in, and then I'll get started. In the interim, I had an interesting conversation with one of my former students. He right now is an analyst. He does research and analyzes companies for Wall Street. And he was basically saying in his conversation, he said, Professor, it looks like, and I agree with him when he said this, it looks like fundamental analysis has gone out the window when it comes to common stock. And that right now the market seems to be responding more to technical analysis than anything else. And as I looked at it and I talked to him, I said, I got to agree with that. I'm not sure what the market knows what to do with zero interest rates. I'm not sure what, I shouldn't say in terms of fundamental analysis, what to do with zero interest rates, because that's not involved in the model. Also, the other thing too is the models don't take into account, or can't take into account, the fact of all the buying that's going on with investors who are just buying ETFs and not even bothering individual stocks. And as you know, ETFs, I'll answer that question in a second. ETFs, they buy. In other words, they're not looking at valuation. They get the money. They have a certain model that they're following, a certain structure, and they just buy it. I do give advice for people that are looking for work on Wall Street, but the advice I've given most times it's to students and people that I know and I've worked with in the classroom. Not to say I wouldn't give you advice. I'm just saying that typically my advice is more geared towards them, only because I know them personally and we've worked together. Omani, excuse me. I know I pronounced it wrong, but how about if I put this? What's up, Mr. Mance? How about if I do it that way? All right. So let me get started. I got a lot to cover today. So I got my list here. I got my things up on the screen. So first and foremost, I had said to you guys over the last couple of weeks that I am going to get involved in cryptocurrencies. No question about it. So over that time period, and by the way, anyone that knows me knows that when I say I'm going to start digging into something, it's not a 1 week, 2 week thing. I mean, I'm digging in. All right. So I'm going to learn this up and down, sideways and forth. Now, the one thing I'm going to say about the cryptocurrencies, and this is why the conversation about fundamental analysis came in. When it comes to cryptocurrencies, fundamental analysis is out the window. All right, I mean, really is. These are not moving based on fundamentals. They're moving more based on technicals. Now, I need to kind of break this down a little bit. Doji Coin, which I know a lot of you invested in, a lot of you are trading, and I have the chart up, so I'll talk about that also. It's a different cryptocurrency. And what I mean by that, Doji Coin does not store any value. So it's not a stored value. The other thing with Doji Coin is, and follow me now when I say this, the miners can mine unlimited currency. In other words, Doji Coin has no limit. Now, if you know anything about no limits, and let's talk about this from just a pure educational standpoint, and that is, we all know that, and I'm going to use commodity market. As the price of corn goes up, the corn farmers plant more corn. The higher it goes, the more they plant. So what happens is by them planting more and planting more, because prices are going up, they start to increase supply. All right. As supply increases, which is basically inflationary, as supply increases, the price is eventually going to come down. Basically, supply and demand. And for those who don't understand, technical analysis is all supply and demand. So all I'm saying to you on Doji Coin is, because there's no cap on how many coins can actually be, a currency can actually be created, and coins in this case, that at some point, they're going to flood the market with coins. And once that happens, the price is going to actually collapse. Now, as I said all that, when? I have no idea. It could be next month. It could literally be 5 years away from now. All right. So on Doji Coin, the other thing that's interesting is it's moving off of news. It's moving off of people talking about it. So as you guys all know, Elon Musk is due on Saturday Night Live this Saturday night, and there's speculation that the coins are running because he's going to talk about. I'm trying to pull a chart up right now. He's going to talk about Doji Coin, so that's why it's running. So that's the thought behind that. All right, so let me pull this chart up. Come on, where you at? There you go. All right. I had said this last week, and I'm saying it again. Doji Coin had a old high of 45. It broke through that 45 price 2 days ago and ran from 45 cents to 70 cents in 2 days. All right. So I'm not sure what Elon Musk is going to say, what's going to happen on Saturday Night Live, but this is what I am going to say to you. If Doji Coin breaks below 45, all right, it's going to be back in that old trading range between 25 cents and 45 cents. I would expect it to stay above the 45 cents. Now, here's the downside. If the coin has run, Doji Coin has run up because the world is expecting Elon Musk to get on TV and talking about Doji Coin, and he doesn't do it, you're probably going to see this thing pull back. All right, so how far it pulls back, I don't know, but you're probably going to see it pull back. If he does talk about it, the thing's going to run. So my advice to you guys is, if you're buying this and you own it, one is watch Saturday Night Live, I guess, and just be prepared that if it ran up off the rumor that he's going to talk about it and he doesn't talk about it, it's going to pull back. That's just natural. All right, so of all the coins I'm going to talk about, Doji probably is how can I put this, has the least consumer benefit. In other words, it doesn't store value. And because it doesn't store value, and because of the fact that you can have unlimited supplies, it's not a coin that a lot of businesses are going to use and work with. All right, I said it. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't trade it. And again, as I told you, if you're buying in here now, it's really extended. So in other words, old high was 45 cents. You got it closed today at 59 cents, 60 cents. So usually for me, I'm looking at it, anything above a 10% move, I typically don't buy it. So a 10% move on a 45 cent stock is basically 50 cents. So once it got above 50 cents, now you're going into what we call extended. So the coin has extended itself. What we would like to see, believe it or not, especially if you think this thing's on its way to $1, you'd like to see it actually come back, pull back, and have some consolidation. That's what we had basically from April 12th to basically May 2nd, May 3rd, it pulled back. It was consolidation where it traded sideways, and then it broke out again on volume. You don't want to see something just go straight parabolic, because if it does, it means that there's not much support, and that means that once it starts to sell off, it's going to pull back. So with all that said, Doji Coin's probably extended. I would not be a buyer here. I'm not saying the coin's not going higher. I just not would be a buyer up here, because I think, and I would look for it to pull back and have some consolidation. Again, the news is coming out. Now, that's Doji Coin. Let me go to the next one. I know everyone's asking about this one, so let me start with Bitcoin. Bear with me a second while I pull up the chart. Bitcoin. All right, that's not the one I wanted. Bear with me a second. Where's my other chart? That's the one. Is that the one? No, that's not the one. All right, here it is. All right. So, a couple of things going on with Bitcoin. It's really interesting what's going on. Bitcoin right now it has a major trading range between about 63, 64,000. And it also has support at about 48,000. So that's the trading range. Now you have near-term resistance at 59,000, 60,000. On the other side though, right now there's a minor resistance right here at the 58,000 level. So what I'm saying to you right now, when it comes to Bitcoin, it's in the middle of a trading range. Really is. Um, if it comes back and tests that 40, 47, 48,000 number and breaks, you have minor support at 43, 44, and then major support back at 40,000. If it breaks through that minor resistance at the 60,000, I would look for it to challenge that 63,000, 64,000, that old high. Now, Bitcoin is, and I've had this conversation with several people, Bitcoin is for real. All right. And what I mean by that is it's an asset class. Cryptocurrency is an asset class. Bitcoin has business implications. As you know, several major corporations, not several, a couple of hundred now, major corporations around the US are starting to use Bitcoin as one of their ways of accepting pay. So what that means is, because of that, it's going to be utilized. The other thing about Bitcoin is Bitcoin has a cap. I believe it's 20 million coins. I believe it's 20 million coins. So what's happened now is it becomes harder and harder for the miners to mine more coins. Now, we are coming under some pressure because some of the state and local governments and also some countries are saying that the usage on these Bitcoins is so much power and usage that they want to slow it down and take a look at it. Again, Bitcoin is here to stay. No question about it. I think that, again, based on technical analysis, when in the middle of a trading range, if it breaks above that 64,000, whatever the old high was, and I'm going to pull it up right now, so give me 1 second. The old high was approximately 64, 65,000. It runs through 65,000 on some good volume. This thing's on the breakout. Again, I'm using pure technical analysis. If it breaks below this 48,000 number, then again, easily your next stop could be 41. Now, because the currencies are all in a bullish market, I don't think you're going to see that. I think the thing's going to run. I, as you know, would not buy it right now. I'm a guy that I'll buy it when it breaks through that old high. Now, for those who like to trade, it dropped down to that 47, 45 number, 47.5 number. Again, I'm not a believer in buying on dips, but you could buy it there and put a stop loss below that and trade it. All right. But with all that said, for me on Bitcoin, one, I think it's here for a while. Two, it's a viable product and service. It's only going to increase its use. And three, when it breaks through that 64 number, it's going to run. All right. As I move on to Ethereum, let me just throw my commercial here. These are my opinions. These are my thoughts. Before you do any type of investing in any of these cryptocurrencies, anything I talk about, make sure you speak to your financial advisor. That's what they get paid for, and they can actually know more about you. Now, this is my disclaimer, because if I didn't say that, my lawyer would kill me. All right? So don't be buying things just because I said so. Because if you lose money, then you're going to come back and complain, and I don't want to hear your complaints. This is, I hate to say this is big boy game now. You're in the big boy game. All right. Ethereum, same thing. Viable product and service being used and accepted by more and more corporations around the world, not just the U.S. A limited number of supplies. I believe it's 45 million. 45 million on the Ethereum. But again, I know for a fact it is limited. I'm just trying to remember the numbers in my head. Now, looking at the chart, here's what's interesting. Ethereum, I'll give you the exact date. Give me a second. Ethereum, April 27th, broke through that old high at 2,500 and change, ran a little bit, consolidated, and then ran again. And right now, 3,500, what you're looking at is there's resistance at 3,500. All right. Again, I would expect it to go sideways a little bit. I would like to see it go sideways and do some backing and filling, let the volume dry down. But again, on this, a push through that 3,500 number is a buy signal for me. Now, I told you guys, I always tell you, and I'm telling you now, I brought some Ethereum on the move through, get my numbers right, on the move through 3,100. So that's where I got involved. So I got in there. I took a small position. As you guys know, I said all the time, I'm figuring this out. I'm working my way through it. I'll get more aggressive with my size and everything else as I get more comfortable with what I'm doing. But right now, I am long Ethereum. I did buy it at 31,000 and change. And right now, as you see, it closed today at 34.65. All right, let me move on. The other one I want to talk about is Ripple, XRP. Bear with me a second. I'll pull up the chart on Ripple. That's not the one I had. Let's see. Is that the one I had? There it is. All right. Ripple, like Bitcoin right now, is in the middle of a trading range. Now, this is a big trading range. Trading range between $1 and it looks like about $1.92. That's a major trading range. Right now, you're sitting right at support. Right now, Ripple's sitting right at support in the middle of that trading range at approximately $1.35, $1.37, somewhere in that range. All right. Again, if you decide to buy it here, I would look for it to break through that near-term resistance of $1.65 and then challenge the $1.90. All right. If it breaks support at $1, your next stop could easily be down to 62 cents. So I guess what I'm saying to you is, again, and understand this, as a trader, I'm a trader. As a trader, two things I do. Whenever I take a position, I look at where I want to get out in terms of if it goes against me and where I'll add to my position if it's going in my favor. I believe in adding to winning positions. So the reason why I tell you where resistance is and where support is that support's where I say if it hits below a certain support level after I buy it, that's where I'm out. And if it goes through that old high, after I buy it, and it goes through, consolidates and goes through the old high, that's when I'll add to my position. All right. So I literally do what they call LIFO, last in, first out. So I literally buy on the way up. All right. So that's me on Ripple. That's what I'm talking about. And again, by the way, I picked out the Ripple, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the last one to talk about is Cardano. I like those currencies, those cryptos, like them. I'm talking about for the fundamental reasons. I think one of the things that we talk about and I'm talking about is I think everyone here will agree that we're not sure which currency is going to be around, but I think we'll all agree that a cryptocurrency is going to be here for the next 5, 10, 20 years. It's going to be a part of life. It's a new asset class. So the question becomes, which ones do you think will make the turn and still be around in 5 or 6 years? Now, we can trade Doji Coin, but I'm not sure if it's going to be around 5 or 6 years. All right. Doji Coin is all pure supply and demand. There's nothing fundamentally around this currency, this cryptocurrency, that would make you say it's going to be here forever. All right. It kind of reminds me of some of these .com stocks that basically just put the name .com behind the stock and it took off. And as soon as valuation started coming, as soon as the market realized that these things had run up and they were overvalued, those are the ones that ceased to exist and no longer around. The ones that made the turn, the names, the Yahoo made the turn. Believe it or not, Google made the turn. Amazon made the turn. In fact, if I remember correctly, Amazon was actually founded right in the middle of a .com bubble. So anyway, let me get back to what I'm saying. So right now, that's Ripple. The next one I want to do, again, is Cardano. Let me pull up that chart. Boom. All right. Another interesting one. Now, this one's been trading sideways for the last, hold on a second, I'm just going to get it. Since February 11th, this currency's been trading between $1, give or take, $1.99, and $1.40, $1.50, $1.50, $1.55. All right. You're sitting right now at its all-time high. Right there. It's a whisper below it. It closed today at $1.47.50. It's a whisper below it. And what's interesting too is, which I also look at volume. The volume on this today was heavier than normal. Volume was actually almost twice the 10-day moving average, 20-day moving average. So with that said, I would not be surprised to see this thing break through that old high. And if it does, I'd be all over it. Again, you're looking at the old high. Again, it was $1.50. Let me get exact. $1.58. So you're only a couple pennies away from that. All right, these things can move. Again, solid business, solid currency. Some real bright scientists that actually came up behind this, and it's being used in the supply chain. All right, so it has real business implications and can be used. All right, so that's my cryptocurrencies. again, I kind of threw out what you call the fundamental analysis like I use in stocks. It's not going to work here. The cryptos are all based on supply and demand. And the one thing I will say too is supply and demand, but also which cryptos have the power, the scientific knowledge, the scientific research behind them to make that turn. And the 4 I named, I believe, can make that turn. Now, don't get me wrong. There's other ones. I'll keep reading and studying, but these are the 4 I like. And as I told you, I just brought some Ethereum earlier this week, or last week. Was it last week? I can't remember when I brought it. I brought it through the move at 31. And again, the other one I just looked at is the ADA. And Lily looked at that one and buying that one. So if it gets through that 154, I'm going to be all over it. All right, so that's me on the cryptocurrencies. Unless there's a question or two on this, which I haven't seen any, that's my opinion. That's what I'm doing. That's what I see. For those of you who don't understand technical analysis, I highly recommend that you start looking at technical analysis, especially if you're going to trade these cryptos. If you're going to be a long-term buyer of the cryptos, I would be a buyer of the Cardano, and I would also be a buyer of the Ethereum and even the Ripple. Reason being, not that I don't like the Bitcoin. I just happen to think right now that Bitcoin is a bit expensive. I think it's a bit extended. So I like the fact it's pulling back into consolidation. So, but again, I wouldn't trade Bitcoin right now, but I would buy it long term. All right. I'm having someone ask me about UNI. Hold on a second, let me see. I'll pull up the chart real quick before I move on. Got a lot to talk about today. So bear with me a second. I don't even know the name. UNI, what's the name of this company? UNI. All right, so there it is. I'm sorry, it's a crypto, it's a currency. UNI. Let me switch real quick to a weekly chart. And the reason being I switch, weekly chart, bear with me, I apologize, but I just need to pull some things up. All right, again, I don't know what this current currency, this cryptocurrency is, but I can tell you a couple of things. One, right now, it's really right at some major resistance around this $3 level, $3.10, $3.20, somewhere in that range. You have some major resistance. That resistance goes back into July. If it can work its way through that resistance, you'll have another resistance at basically $4 and some more resistance at $4.50. So what's happened is this currency actually, this is a crypto, I'm looking at a weekly chart that actually has basically come in and it has not been participating. Now, again, I don't know the story behind it. I don't know what they do in terms of how they were formed, but I would say based on technical analysis, I would not be a buyer. In fact, I would wait for this thing to kind of push its way back through the $3 range, the $3.50 range, the $4 range. So I'd wait for it to get back to $4.50. Anyone that knows me knows that I am not, again, repeat, not a fan of buying things or trying to pick bottoms. If you're trying to pick bottoms, good luck with that. That means you're trying to time the markets, and that's virtually impossible to do. So I highly recommend that you guys don't try and time the market. Don't buy on dips. Wait for the thing to confirm itself. The reason why I say don't buy on dips can turn into valleys. All right, you don't know how far down this thing's going to go. And if you think you can project how far down it's going to go, you're sadly mistaken. So don't make that mistake. Adam, I'll talk about that later on technical analysis. But the way I learned technical analysis was just basically looking at charts day in and day out. A long story short, when I first got into the business, when I was in my early 20s, my wife would tell you I would spend all weekend sitting at home on the couch reading nothing but charts, teaching myself technical analysis. That's how I got started, Lily. And it's kind of easy to see because, just pick out things that are doing well and look at the chart patterns. And that's how I started identifying charts. Over the years, I know names have come up, the Fibonacci's and this and candlesticks and all that. I learned it the old-fashioned way. I learned it by just looking. All right, let me move on. I want to talk about this real quick. Every week I talk about the commodities. All right, so let me say a couple things. And I told you last week, a week before, I changed up. I'm only going to tell you about things I think that you can actually look to trade right now. All right, so this is part of the same subject. The housing market has exploded. All right, I don't think we're in a bubble yet like 2006, but it has exploded to the upside. So let me explain what I mean by that. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but there are housing futures. There are futures on different housing markets. Chicago, Boston, New York, Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco. I think I said Chicago. San Diego, I said Las Vegas. That's the one I forgot. DC, Denver. Every one of these futures for these housing markets, either they're at an all-time high or they're at the highest they've been in the last 10 years. So what am I saying to you? Housing prices have exploded, as you guys know. Now, why? More people looking to buy, low interest rates, lack of supply. The pandemic has slowed down supply. People don't want people coming into their houses, and also lack of building. All this has created what we call the perfect storm, which is squeezing this thing up. So, with that said, stay long lumber. Lumber has exploded. They said, I was reading an article that said basically because of the increase in price in lumber, to build a new home now, they had to increase the price by $36,000 just because of the increase in price in lumber. The other one I told you about was copper. The two main ingredients, the two main resources that are used to manufacture a home, lumber and copper. You want to look at those if you're looking at trading those futures. All right, let's see what else I was going to say. So, with that said, I'm just trying to move through. I'm looking at my time. I know you guys have questions I want to answer, or you want me to answer. So again, the housing futures. The reason why I'm not recommending a housing futures, they're a very thinly traded market. All right, so there's not much liquidity in that market. The lumber market also is not nearly as thin. The lumber market's not as thin, but it's thin also. And the copper market, you don't have to worry about that. You can do any type of contract size and number, and you'll be fine. All right. Wow. I'm just looking at my screen, and Rocket Mortgage missed the number. Now, the reason why I mentioned that is, was that Rocket Mortgage or Rackspace? I got it. If it was Rocket Mortgage, that's pretty interesting. If it was Rackspace, which is, I think it was RKT, so I think it was Rocket Mortgage. That's pretty interesting that Rocket Mortgage missed the number this quarter. Another thing interesting about Rocket Mortgage is, just so you guys know, Rocket Mortgage has a huge, huge short position. So be interesting to watch how this thing trades. You get a huge short position in Rocket Mortgage. All right, so again, that's what I would do in the housing market. I wouldn't trade the actual housing futures, but I definitely would look, if you're long lumber, stay long lumber. Now lumber's, it's going straight up. So be nimble with that. Set your boundaries in terms of your stop loss or whatever you're gonna do to get out, hedge yourself. But again, it's moving. I don't see any reason why I would stop. The other thing that's gonna keep this housing market going is, and I'm quite sure some of you guys know, the Fed has been buying mortgages in the marketplace. The Fed's been buying mortgages in the marketplace. That's another reason why they're probably going to push up inflation. So I'm not sure how long the Fed's going to be doing that, but the Fed's buying mortgages in the marketplace. They're making money cheap. The rates are low. So, but again, if you're looking to buy a house, prices are really at all-time highs. I'd be careful. Again, I don't think we're in the same bubble we were in 2006, but this could be the form of a bubble. It has all the makings of it. So just be careful with that. All right. The other thing I wanted to talk about was, let me pull it up. I have the chart right here. Talk about this one real quick. Academy Sports and Outdoors. All right, I've been talking about this stock for the last 2 or 3 weeks. It's one of these stocks that's got me complexed. Reason being, perplexed, not complexed. Reason being is this. Stocks today pushed up to its all-time high, right below it. All right. As I told you, it was an independent flag position. I told you typically when a security is an independent flag, when it finally does break out, it's going to break out on volume. And I told you I thought this would break out to volume to the upside, and it did. It basically broke out from 31 and ran to 33 and change. All right to its all-time high. Now the reason why it's interesting is 2 things. One, and let me make sure I give this to you. Volume is more than double the average daily volume. All right. So it traded 5.4 million shares today. 2, I'm looking at my notes, so bear with me. So 2, where is it? up $2. I don't have it written down. All right. So again, it's at its all-time high. I didn't write it down. Two, the other thing is, oh, I did write it down. They have a 4.5, almost a 5-day, 4.9, a 5 days to cover the short. All right. It has a huge short position, and the shorts are natural buying. The short ratio, it's almost 5 days to cover the short. Now, here's why that's interesting. They're doing a 14 million share secondary that's being priced tonight for trading tomorrow. So now normally when a secondary of that size is being dropped on the market on the stock, the investment bankers will bring the stock in and price it what we call in the hold, price it cheap. This stock ran ahead of that. Two things, I've seen this before. One, what it's showing you is this run is you're probably having some shorts come out here and covering. All right, they're covering ahead of the deal because the deal is looking like it's in really good shape. The second thing that happens is these shorts that are short might look to use the volume in the secondary to cover their shorts. Either way, it's probably going to cause the stock to run. Now, that's my opinion. I've seen this before. That's what I think is going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but again, that's what I see. That's what I think. So all I'm saying to you guys is it's probably going to be a short squeeze in here. You're probably seeing it right now. I've seen it before. God, I'm just trying to remember some of the stocks I've seen it with, but my mind's not pulling it. So, but again, let me explain it all over again. Stock broke out of a pennant flag today. Broke out on twice the average daily volume the day before the secondary is being dropped on the books. All right, normally that's going to cause a stock to come in. The stock again is Academy, Sports, and Outdoors. Symbol's ASO. Let me type it in here. Symbol is ASO. All right, we've talked about it a couple of times on this show, and there it is again. All right, last but not least, and then I'm going to wrap this up and open up for questions, Q&A, and so forth, is Fever, FVRR. Now, talked about this before. Fever is at the bottom of its second lowest trading range. In other words, Fever right now is at $1.83. The old high, which was set, give you an idea how far this has come down. The high that was set back in February was 336. Right now, we're trading at 183. At the 183 level, right in this level, is major support. This support goes back as far as October 2020. So you're looking at some major support right here. It's come down here a couple of times, hit and bounced and ran back up, come down, hit and bounced, and we're down here again. For those who are into technical analysis, the thing that I would say to you is you're looking at a reverse head and shoulders. If you don't know what a reverse head and shoulders is, that's okay. I'm just telling you reverse head and shoulders is extremely bearish. A head and shoulder, not reverse. A head and shoulder is extremely bearish. You're in one. If this thing breaks and doesn't hold this 183 level and bounce from here, your next stop is 140. I understand there was some negative news on it. I don't know what the news is. I'm just looking at the chart, and the chart doesn't lie. Now, what's also interesting is, let me pull this up. They're due to report earnings tomorrow, all right? And the estimate's for a loss of 10 cents. So again, what the market's telling you, what they're telling you ahead of the number is they don't believe the number. Now, I'm going to add one other thing to that. Right now, the way that the tech stocks are trading, even if the number's good, it's not going to hold. None of them are holding. We've had tech stocks blow out the number and still not hold. All right? So fundamental analysis right now is out the window. So again, in my opinion, if FVRR, I'm just typing it in, FVRR does not hold this 183 level, doesn't bounce from here, your next stop is 140. All right, that's just, I'm looking at the chart. And again, I'm just here to tell you, this is a major support level at this 183, 180 level. Major support right here. So you want to see it hold it. And gosh, the reason I say gosh, it's at 180 level. It actually closed today at 180. Yeah, so it's right here, ahead of earnings. That's got to make you nervous if you're long the stock. All right, that is everything I had to say about what I had written down today. So now I'll open it up to if you guys have any questions, anything you want me to look at, any charts or anything. I'll pull it up and take a look at it. If you want to ask me or talk to me about some of the cryptos. I did have some people ask about technical analysis. One of the things, give me 1 second on this. On technical analysis, John Murphy. God, I can't remember. John Murphy has a website. I'm trying to remember the name of the site. Hold on a second. I'm typing in John Murphy. All right, John Murphy charts. All right. And I'm clicking on it. All right, stockcharts.com. Stockcharts.com. They also have a chart school. When I've taught technical analysis at the university, and actually, believe it or not, I've taught technical analysis at a couple of universities I've worked at. I use chart schools as the textbook. All right, so that's what I use. Again, so I highly recommend that. Stockcharts.com. Now, there might be some other ones out there. This is the one I've used in the past. All right, bear with me a second. I need to scroll through this. I've had some questions here. Let's see, getting my question in. GRBK and Etsy. Well, Etsy's been interesting. Peloton got hit because they basically, odds are, they've got some lawsuits coming. They had to recall one of their products. Anytime that happens, that's not a good thing. Etsy, I haven't looked at Etsy in a while. The only reason I say that is I had looked at it before when it was IPO. I just haven't followed it in a while. All right, real quick. You can see it right now. Again, guys, go to a weekly chart. Etsy broke support at around 192 and closed it at 185. So it just broke some near-term support. Looking at it, you want to see it hold 175. If it doesn't hold 175, next stop is 150. The top of that range is 240, 241. So it broke out of that high trading range, which is not what you want to see. Again, I'm looking at a weekly chart. Oh, excuse me so much. So if you're in it, I'd just be cautious with it. If you're looking to buy it, again, you know me, I don't buy on the dips. And here's a perfect example of a stock that actually broke its first support level, which was around the 190, 197 level. And now it came to another support level, which is right around the 176. And that's my point. How low is this dip going to go? I don't know what the numbers are of the company, and let me just switch it to a daily chart. The reason why I'm switching to a daily chart is, and that's what I thought. Earnings were due out today, right? Earnings were 88 cents. So it looks like earnings were due out today. 88 cents is what the number was. So real simple. Here's the deal. If they don't beat that number or meet that number, heck, the way it's going now, you're probably going to see this thing sell off. So they need to make sure they earn the 88 cents. Now, another thing I'm going to say to you guys too is sometimes with these sell-offs, it's not because the number came out. It's because of the forecast going forward. So a case in point, I'm not picking on Etsy. Let's say Etsy reports 95 cents. But then in their comments to investors, during the shareholder meeting, during the conference call, that Etsy comes out and says, yeah, but for the next quarter or the current quarter we're in, we're seeing a pullback because the pandemic's coming. I'm making this up, by the way, guys. The pandemic's over. People are now going outdoors and doing more shopping at stores and online. And Etsy has some nice, cute products, but we think demand's going to actually slow down a little bit, and so we're lowering our estimate for the next quarter. That's going to move the stock down. All right. This is what happens during earnings season. Not only the number that comes out, but also then after that, what the firm says in the conference call about what they expect for the quarter they're in and for the future, the upcoming year. So, and let me see. The other one is GRBK. I'm not familiar with that, but doesn't mean. Let me see. What's the name of this company? Don't know it. Switching to a weekly chart again. I'm switching to a monthly chart. Bear with me a quick. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. All right, I switched to a monthly chart. Now, believe it or not, you guys might not realize this, but the reason why I switched to a monthly chart is you have some investors back in here when the stock was trading as high as, oh, let me see if I can get the all-time high. I thought I was near it. I'm not even near it. This stock was trading at a high of $225. And right now it's at $24. All right, now why am I saying that to you? Believe it or not, you still have some investors that hold this stock up in here in the $200 range where they brought it up there. You know, and they're saying to themselves, I'm just going to wait till it gets back to what I paid for it. It's not a loss unless I book it. Okay, so they're sitting there. So I guess what I'm saying to you on this particular stock, maybe you trade it, but there's nothing in here short term that makes this stock look attractive. I mean, nothing. You know, and I guess what I'm saying to you, if it actually gets through that near-term resistance at 27, 28 bucks, you got more resistance right behind it. I guess the thing I'm going to say to you guys too is, it's my money, and I don't want to buy crap. I want to buy best of breed. I want to buy the best. I want to buy the best car. I want to buy the best shoes. I want to have the best phone. When I invest in my dollars, I want to have the best investments. All right. So I'm not looking to buy the second tier, third tier companies. I'm not even looking to trade those. I want to trade the better companies. That's just me. So when I look at companies like this that have all these problems, the first thing that pops in my head is, why am I going to chase behind this when there's some other companies out there that are doing really well and trading a lot higher? Why would I not be in those? So again, that's just me. Some other people might like these and buy them. I'm not that guy. I did talk about Ethereum. I think I basically, it's real simple. I own Ethereum. I brought some. So I own Ethereum. I would be a buyer on a breakout, but I own Ethereum. All right, CCIV. I think we talked about this last time. I'm looking at the daily chart on this thing. Churchill Capital. Yeah, the problem that you have with this is one of those special purpose acquisition corporations. And right now, it's really, gosh, I'm worried about you guys. The reason why I say that is don't get caught in this hype, man. This stock is just a whisper above support. You got near-term support again, that's 18 bucks, right around that range. Bear with me a second. I'm going to move this chart up and move this to the side a little bit because I can't see it. I apologize for leaning out the picture. Yeah, you're right. You're right above major support. If it breaks this major support, it's literally back to where it was back in January. And if it breaks this $8, this $18 range, your next stop is probably down here to $13, $14. Again, I wouldn't be chasing it. If you decide you want to trade it, 18 is support. If it breaks 18, it's going down. Resistance is right there at 25 bucks. That's the trading range. If it breaks through 25 bucks, you got more resistance up here at 32 bucks. All right, let's see what else. I'm just trying to look. I know I'm getting a bunch of them coming through, and I do apologize. Bear with me a second. I'm just reading through. BNTX. ADR. Real quick. I know we looked at this before, but let me switch it to a monthly chart real quick. Bear with me a second. I'm just trying to, yeah, there it is. Okay. Long-term trend looks pretty good. The weekly looks really good. So let's see. Based on the weekly, you got major support at 127, 130. That's major support right around there. But let's go to a daily chart. Let's see what's going on in a more near-term future. All right, near-term. You had that little spike, and it's pulled back, and it's literally right at a minor near-term support at 160. If it breaks below 160, the next support level is at 125. All right, so you're sitting here right now at this level. You're sitting right at support, 160, 161, right in that range. And again, you have earnings due out on the 10th. So, and again, I don't know the company. I'm just reading the chart, and it's an ADR, but that's what you're looking at. So again, BNDX, you're right at near-term support at 160. There's some minor resistance at 177. But if it goes to that 177, it should attack that old high of 212 and go higher. The thing that you have now is earnings. By the way, guys, earnings are a catalyst. They can drive a stock up, they can drive a stock down. Angela, let me see, PayPal. Put that up real quick. You know what's interesting about PayPal? I own PayPal. I don't even look at it. I've owned it for a long time. Don't even look at it. All right, bear with me a second. That's what I wanted to see. Switch to a weekly. Hold on a second. All right. Like a lot of tech stocks, you're basically just a whisper above some near-term support at the 240, 43, 44 level. You're a whisper, just a whisper off of it. If it can hold this, your next major resistance level. Well, let me switch to a daily. The part of the support at 240 that hasn't changed. But let me switch to a daily. Let's see what's going on here daily. Yeah, so I'm going to stick by that 240 number near term. Actually, now looking at it, it's more like 236, 235. So you're kind of like, you kind of broke through some. It broke through some near-term support at 253, 254. It broke through that, and it's trading below that. So again, you want to see it push through that 254 number. If it does, you got more resist. You know, if it pushes through that, it should attack the 258. There's a trading range between 258, 260, and 280. And even when it breaks through that, the old high is basically above 300. So the stock's got some work to do. Earnings look like earnings are due out. Earnings are due out today. So they're expecting $1.01. So it's going to be interesting to see. Where is it at? Oh, there it is. Hold on a second. I'm pulling it up. PayPal. After-hour trading is up $12. So PayPal basically must have beat the number. So now I'm going back to the chart. It's at 260 right now in aftermarket trading. So 260 takes you back to that, right to the top of that resistance, that near-term resistance. You're right there. Based upon the number and what's going on, you're probably, it should attack that 280. So if you're in the stock, it did well for you. Who else was due to report today I talked about? I can pull up that and see what they did. Don't remember. All right, I'm just looking through the NASDAQ, the Qs. Mr. Cornfield, you're all over the place. You like the Qs. I love the Qs. I always trade the Qs. All right, for those who don't know, the Qs is the NASDAQ 100. It's the top 100 tech stocks on NASDAQ. All right, typically very volatile. And here's what's interesting. I'm looking at it. Let me just hold on a second. Let me just double check. I want to, before I open my mouth and make an erroneous statement. Bear with me a second. Yeah, I thought so. Okay. So let me go to a daily chart. Let me go to a weekly chart. On the Qs, resistance is the old high, which it hit. I guess that was last Friday, and that high was 342. There you are. Right now you're right at support, old resistance level. Support is at 326 in that range. So real simple. Now volume's dried up, and this is interesting. Volume is actually, which is a good thing. Volume is actually dried up on the last 2 or 3 days when the Qs actually went down. Volume has dried up, which is a good thing. So with that said, you're at the bottom of a near-term trading range, 326 right here. For those who like to trade and buy at the bottom of the trading range, this is the place you would step in. Again, for those who, like me, wait for it to go through that old high and you should get another run. Again, I keep saying this to you guys. Backing and filling is a good thing. You don't want to see something go straight up, because if it goes straight up, that means there's more volatility on the way down. Backing and filling gives people a chance that want to take profits to get out. It pauses, catches its breath, and then buying will pick back up again. So if it's backing and filling, which it's doing right now, that's a good thing. All right, that's NASDAQ. I mean the Qs, that's not NASDAQ. I just had a call from Henry. How are you? Uber. He's asked me about Uber. I want to, let me switch to a monthly chart real quick. And the reason being, I thought so. Cool. All right. Now I'm switching to a weekly chart. And on the weekly chart, major support right here at this $50 level. Wow. Major support in here. Let me switch it to a daily. See if I can narrow it down. Yeah. All right. This $50 range, major support. No question about it. Major support, it's right back here at this $50 range. If it breaks $50, hold on, I'm just trying to get a little view here. If it breaks $50, your next stop would be, could easily be $39. I don't think it's going to do that, but that's where it's at. You're at major support. You got some minor support, I guess, at 47, 48. But you're right here sitting at some major support level. It should hold here. If it holds, the top of this trading range is $60, close to the near-term high of 64. So it's traded down to near-term support. And I know that earnings are due out today. So what they do with earnings? I'm pulling up the chart right now. Pulling up the, see if they reported earnings. All right, they must have reported, they're down in the aftermarket, down $1.44 trading. So it's at 49.70. So it's breaking, let me go back to the chart. It's breaking this $50 range. Easily, Henry, I would see that you're probably going to challenge $48 a share. All right. Let's see. I'm looking at my time too. I can't stay on longer than an hour. If I stay on longer than an hour, I won't be able to keep this recording. So I see real quick. I had the cues I did. Disney and General Motors. General Motors broke out today. Again, let me real quick go to a monthly chart. The reason why I go to a monthly chart, I just want to see where this thing's been over the life. All right, so there it is, General Motors. Let's see, let me switch this to a weekly. All right, there was some minor support, near-term support at around 50. Oh, let me switch it to a daily. The weekly's showing it to me, but I can narrow it down. All right, over the last month, near-term support's right here at $54, $55 a share. You got near-term resistance at $62 a share. If it breaks this $50, $54 share support level, next stop is $50. Now, let me say it this way. If you're a near-term trader, I'm not sure how much bang you're going to get out of General Motors. All right, it's not that kind of stock. If you're a long-term investor in your portfolio, you like GM for auto, it's cool. It's trading really well. But if you're looking for a stock that, if you're thinking General Motors is going to go from 50 to $100 in the next 12 months, that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. All right. And let me pull up Disney real quick. Another stock I like, long term. I think it's a company that has a very unique situation. It has a moat around it. I think that Disney is one of the few only company that can actually produce a show and movie, and then produce products and services, products around it, toys, paraphernalia, clothes, and then also in a theme park. They've got this whole thing tied down when it comes to marketing. So near-term high again, $200. I think it's all-time high. I think it is. But again, Disney, and again, due to report earnings on the 13th, sitting right here at major support. Sitting right there at major support right now. At 181, 180, major support. This support was resistance, as you guys know, who's in technical analysis, when a stock's trading really well, the old resistance becomes support. And this $180 price was resistance going back into December 2020. And it finally broke through that in February 2021 and formed a new trading range. And that 180 now is support. You're sitting right at support. It should, if it bounces off this, you got some minor resistance at 191, and then it should challenge the 200. All right, that's Disney. I'm looking at my time. I think that's all the time I have. If you're going to be going to 5 sharp, I'm not sure what you're saying here, Mr. Cornfield. If you're going to 5 sharp, then do you have specific screenings sites other than FinViz? I'm not following the question, so I'm not sure how to answer that. I'm all over the web. I pulled data from a number of different places. I have used FinViz. I haven't been on FinViz in a while. I've been on there with a couple of clients, so I'm not sure what you're asking me, so I'm not sure how to answer that. All right, guys. Once again, these are my thoughts, my opinions. Take that, speak with your financial advisor, whoever you're working with, and then from there, make your decision on what you want to do. These are my opinions, my thoughts. I do appreciate you guys stopping by, and let's all go out there and make some money. It's out there to be made. Have a great day, and I will see you next Wednesday. Professor Milligan out.